He was last seen on the shore, in the most familiar place when he got into the boat and disappeared beyond the horizon. But one person said they saw him on his way back. He was a silent man. Some said he was lonely, others a hermit. He walked through the streets, through the neighborhoods, in silence. One woman constantly watched him from her balcony, just out of curiosity, for evening gossip with the neighbors. Another woman sighing would say, "How nice, such a calm man," and longed for someone like him. Then listed the regrets that had suddenly entered her life and cursed her ex-husband. The man was neither on earth nor in the sky. Where he lived was also unknown. Sometimes people would say, "He sits here all day, no job, no purpose." Other times they'd say, "He was just here a moment ago." Even a young girl fell in love with this ethereal man. Wearing perfume, she would stop in his path under some pretext, hoping their eyes would meet. "He doesn't notice anyone," one of the grocers said resentfully in the presence of the elders. One old man told a detailed story about his origins, that he came from a noble family, from a lineage of honor. Then, at the coffee shop, at every table, with each sip of coffee, everyone expressed their admiration for his intellect and upbringing. One envious person wanted to say, "Last time he was seen coming out of that house," but saved it for another conversation. He kept walking, knowing neither night nor day. "He doesn't sleep at night," children would whisper to each other in fear. One child even screamed when he suddenly appeared before him. And so a legend was born. He drinks the blood of infants. Noisy children's games abruptly stopped. Some hid in doorways, while others gathered and followed him through the neighborhoods. They invented new games. To tease him, one teenager once shouted, "I'll tell!" He even swore he would, but never dared to ask even a simple, incoherent question. Over time, they just started watching him in silence. On days when he wasn't seen, the streets felt empty. Then they grew fond of him. They missed him. For example, one child would get excellent grades whenever he met the man on the way to school. An old woman, upon seeing him, would whisper prayers to her saints. The man gradually brought luck to the streets, became a sign of hope for many. It was as if he had vanished for the long winter, and perhaps that's why, when he went for a walk on the first sunny day, he became a herald of spring. They even gave him a name, the Blessed. A confectioner woman whose home was filled with constant quarrels stepped onto the balcony to cry, and upon seeing him, wiped away her tears. It was then that she found the strength to finally leave her abusive husband. This man no longer seemed ordinary to anyone. The light they saw in him became undeniable. When he appeared, eyes widened, sadness and pain faded. When the echoes of his footsteps resounded in the morning streets like a rhythmic melody, faces would gather at the windows. And so, everyone started waiting for him throughout the day. They worried. An artist took the opportunity to paint him when he sat on a tree stump for a long time. From then on, he proudly displayed the painting. No one believed it was real. Eventually, he stopped trying to sell it, and it hung in his workshop until his death. Later, his daughter hung it in the kitchen, believing it would bring blessings to the house. He became part of every family. Where he went, where he came from, where he was headed, none of it mattered. Some saw a friend in him, some a brother, a father, a husband, a first love. His presence became scarce. His absence was felt by all. A few days passed without any news of him, and misunderstandings and arguments arose in the shops and neighborhoods. Voices grew louder. Misfortunes and troubles followed one after another. It turned out that the reason was him, or rather his absence. Secretly, quietly, gently, they worried about him. Any news of the blessed? People often asked. Their hearts ached. They regretted that no one had ever dared to ask him a single word. Some even felt hurt, saying, "He has forgotten us." Then they made wishes, vowed sacrifices, but there was no news. They began to console themselves. This time, soul-warming stories became a source of hope. Poems were read in his name about love, courage, family. They prayed for him, attributed miracles and blessings to him. An unnamed street was given his name, even though no one knew his real one. Even an old, broken, rusty fountain on the street was repaired because of him. But still, there was no news. They longed to rejoice. Someone said they had seen him in a dream. Someone else claimed to have seen him waving from afar. The last time, as they said, he was seen by the fishermen on the shore. He got into a boat and sailed toward the horizon.